Ever wonder why we are attracted to men or women? What is it that makes us find one gender more attractive than the other? Before we can even begin to understand this, scientists first had to figure out how life works. Through the Human Genome Project, scientists were able to crack the code of life. Basically, all life is written in 4 letters: A's, G's, C's, and T's. Within our bodies, there are individual units of DNA called nucleotides. These are made up of hydrogen bonds between complementary pairs. The A's complement the G's, and the C's complement the T's. They form a perfect pair called base pairs. There are 3 billion of these base pairs, which combine to form every living thing, from a tree, to a dog, to your neighbor Tom. Now that we know this, what does our body do with all these A's, G's, C's, and T's? Through the processes of transcription and translation, genes are interpreted and carried out. Genes are a pattern of nucleotides, basically those perfect pairs. These patterns are used to create messenger RNA, which work as a photocopy of the DNA that can travel around within cells. In transcription, the DNA uncoils itself, kind of like a zipper, and then creates a copy of the DNA by making a new group of perfect pairs, A to G and C to T. But now the T's become U's, just to keep things interesting. Now that we have our messenger RNA, it leaves the nucleus and attaches to the ribosomes. The ribosomes are organelles within cells that build proteins. In a process called translation, the ribosomes decode the A's, G's, C's, and now U's to build a strand of amino acids called polypeptides, which get longer and longer and longer until a section of letters translates to stop. This leaves us with a new protein. These proteins carry out genes that give us our eye color, hair color, and so on. It's all through the order of A's, G's, C's, and T's that make up you and me. But what about other things than appearance? Can our DNA determine other traits? Can these 3 billion pairs of 4 letters determine our sexual orientation?
A fairly recent study done on mice shows the effects of serotonin on the brain and how it affects attraction. A group of male mice were genetically altered to have fewer serotonin-producing proteins than usual. The mice with lower levels of serotonin were more physical with each other, while the mice with higher levels of serotonin were less interested in each other. In addition, male mice with abnormally low levels of serotonin mounted other males before seeking out females. While these mice were injected with serotonin, they became interested in female mice. However, upon increasing their levels of serotonin, the mice became interested in males once more. In short, too much or too little of this chemical is linked to homosexuality. Since mice are physically similar to humans, many people believe that this study also applies to us. Evolutionary psychologists believe that people are attracted to others based on how different their genes are to their own, specifically the MHC gene, which makes up your immune system. This is because when people with very different immune systems reproduce, this gives their child the best possible chance of fighting off illness. We inherit this gene from our ancient ancestors because they needed this trait to increase their chance of their child's survival. Simply put, people with less of the same gene are said to be more attracted to each other than those with more of the same genes. Professor Robert Winston decided to put this to the test. He recruited 6 female university students to wear a t-shirt for 2 days straight. He then had each woman tested to see how many of the 6 MHC genes they have similar to him. Winston then proceeded to have a scientist administer each t-shirt to him and ranked them from most pleasant to least pleasant scent. The scientist revealed that the t-shirts were in almost perfect order, from least amount of common genes to most amount of common genes. The t-shirt that Winston found most attractive had 0 out of the 6 common genes, while the least attractive had 4 out of the 6. So, if genes do play a large part in who we are attracted to, then gender may have little to do with it. Now that we know that there is a connection between our genes and our sexual orientation, the question becomes about ethics. Should we choose if our children will be homo or heterosexual? But what if we found that this sequence in our DNA could change it? Should we be able to choose our children's sexual orientation? Why not leave this science up to the love experts?